Hey everyone, this is episode 3. I'm Matt,
I'm Tony.
and we created this podcast to talk about all things in life, primarily focused on tech, finance, life, parenting, and other fun stories.
Yeah, it's kind of like all about life.
Yeah.
We're kind of old, but we want to be young forever.
Another week. Did you do anything exciting this week?
No, not this week. Fortunately, it was work. Um, nothing. Yeah, nothing too involved. Yeah, I feel like at this stage in life, it's like work, get home, baby, eat, sleep, work,
Yeah.
and rinse and repeat for the rest of the week, which is it's just insane how we put ourselves on this kind of like treadmill. And the only reason I thought about that's like, why am I doing this? Really, the only reason I'm doing this is because of health insurance.
That's the only reason
like,
why you're working still.
yeah, it's literally because I'm afraid of not having health insurance and then going bankrupt because of some, knock on wood, like whatever,
Yeah.
and I get like a charge like $1 million. It's like crazy. Like that shouldn't be a part of our like decision set, right? Oh my gosh, am I gonna have health insurance? I mean,
I
how are you? How are you handling it? Like that's my biggest fear,
yeah.
literally. If I wasn't working, is not having health insurance.
I definitely share that fear as well. Uh, Health insurance is important, especially if um, if you have uh, issues or need medication. My daughter has allergies, so she needs an EpiPen, and so
Mm-hmm.
that's dependent on health insurance to be able
Yeah.
to get it at a cost. I actually take monthly medication because I have psoriasis, and
Mm-hmm.
so I take a monthly injection that I give myself, and I pay
Mm,
$5 for it.
right.
But when I see the health insurance claims, I think like year to date, they already paid like
Hmm.
$80,000 for that medication.
See,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Like okay, like when you said about the EpiPen, I remember it was like a YouTube video and they were using that as an example, like how each pen is, it's it's made so like it costs whatever $800 per pen, and and they say it only lasts a year, but this medical doctor was saying, well, technically you could probably save it for 2 years. And then like if you went to Canada, it's probably only like $10 or like
Yeah.
$50 or something like that. And so it's just like, I don't, yeah, I guess I don't want to get too far into like the politics of it, but it's just like, it's a bit crazy how here in the US, like if you compare to like the UK.
I think so because I've been looking into Cobra now. The Cobra process has been pretty easy,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all dependent on how much you you can pay or how much you can afford out of pocket. Because now
Mm-hmm.
that I'm not tied to a company, I don't have their health benefits. I have to do Cobra, and it is expensive. I think when the health insurance I was getting through my company, the premiums were like between $2,500 and $3,000, and the company was paying for more than half of that.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm in Cobra, I had to get a reduced plan. I mean, I still have
Mm-hmm.
health insurance, thankfully, but
Right.
I had to get a reduced plan because of my affordability on it. Still paying
Mm.
about $1,500 a month for it out of pocket,
Wow.
but we need it. So I think that's why if you don't have a job, I think I told you I'm starting to do some contracting work with some
Mm-hmm.
companies, and so
Mm-hmm.
if you freelance or if you contract, you can charge more hourly, which should offset the
Cover.
cost
Yeah.
of benefits and health insurance. But
Right.
uh, it's nothing like getting the
Yeah.
huge support from a company. When I was at my
Right.
company, I paid like $300 a month
Yeah.
for health insurance.
Yeah. Yeah. Same here. That's about, yeah, hundreds versus thousands, right? And
Mhm.
it's like, I think that's also makes it challenging when you think about creators, or right, like if we were like this to decide, yeah, let's let's be creators full time, right? And so like how do you manage the other half of that of like, all right, now you're really on your own. Um, but have you looked in, because I have no awareness of it, but like Obamacare.
I did look into it. I didn't qualify.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I did go to the Obamacare site. I remember going through it.
See, that's the other thing. It's like just because it's not so ubiquitous, it like there's no fallback either that you can rely on, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I just looked up Obamacare in Washington. It's called Apple Care. And here's why I couldn't qualify. In order to
Mhm.
qualify for Apple Health, which is Obamacare, a three-person household, which is what we are,
Mhm.
can't make more than $2,859 monthly.
What?
Yeah, and so
That's insane.
and so
That makes no sense. Like even an
yeah,
Uber driver, if they worked a lot, they would make more than that, right? Or that would disqualify them.
yep.
Wow.
So it is
Mhm.
not for everyone, even though I think I guess the branding right is healthcare for
Right.
everyone.
Yeah, but not for everyone.
Yeah,
All right. Ah,
yeah. As we are getting ready to record this, we started talking about just the challenges of creating, right? That we've been
yeah.
finding, both with this YouTube channel, but also I started a TikTok for my dog. His name is
Mhm.
Coconut. His TikTok username is Coconut Pup. So at Coconut Pup.
That
He,
was actually available? Really?
yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay.
I haven't met a ton of dogs named Coconut,
Huh.
so maybe that's
Okay.
why. But
All right. Well, that's a great handle. Coconut Pup.
yeah, Coconut Pup. He's a 1-year-old, 13-pound Shih Tzu poodle,
Mhm.
otherwise known as a Shih-Poo or a Shoodle.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just gonna create TikToks of his antics.
Yeah.
He's a fun puppy. He's pretty energetic. He's super sweet, but
Mhm.
he also has an attitude.
Yeah.
I only submitted 3 so far, but the first one I submitted, and I think it's because I was new,
Uh-huh.
got almost 1,000 views in like 3 days.
Like you mean your first post?
Yeah,
Okay. Submitted.
yeah. My
So
first post, yeah. The
so
second post,
boomerish.
the second post got about 400, and then the third post got like 40. So it was interesting. I mean, I'm like, this is a
Yeah.
common ranking and algorithmic thing is for new people. It's called the cold start problem.
Yeah.
For new people or like new things, they typically put you higher in search or higher
Yeah.
in they want to we want to expose you faster, so
Yeah.
that way you get the thrill of getting likes, and then you continue to do it
Mhm.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's a good thing to call out. I don't think most people. So I guess I'll backtrack, right? I think that when we were kind of talking before the podcast started, it was like, um, a lot of people wonder, like, is it too late to start or start my own YouTube channel? Because like I've wanted to do one like over the past 10 years, and I've just kind of like delayed. And I really, it's come to the point where you and I finally like we just need to do it. Otherwise, we'll just keep talking about it, and then you just put yourself farther behind, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's ever a it's too late to start. It's just a matter of you just need to start and then start and kind of like feeling working your way through it. Otherwise, you'll just um, never never do it, right?
Yeah.
And I think part of it is the learning, which I think we're actually learning quite a bit. Like it took us, a bit to figure out like, all right, what platform do we actually use to do our podcasts on, right?
Hmm.
It's just like you just don't know until you start doing it. Like I know what we were texting and you were like, "Oh, we should really pay attention to our thumbnails." Are we going to have to start posing like during certain parts of this and like, like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's just like the weird like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah.
Right? Like freeze frame ourselves and then put some kind of like wacky text on it.
I was
I
never a
guess
fan of those
so.
thumbnails. The ones where they're like,
It's like, everybody says like that's how you do it, and it's like okay,
Yeah.
it's like I
Oh,
know, and I guess this goes back to your ranking discussion. Yeah. So, anyways, so I don't think actually a lot of people understand how they always it's always referred to as like the algorithm.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, like boosting or what you were saying, the cold start problem for any company really who's trying to get like the creator or kind of like get their first listing. If you think like eBay, right, is like how do you how do you get them hooked generally so that they're like, oh, I'm seeing some success, or
Hmm.
like you said, wow, I've got like 1,000 views or a couple hundred views on my first couple of videos, right? And it's trying to incentivize um, on that end
Yeah.
to keep you going, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of people misunderstand. It's like, oh, it's just a random thing, or it's like I'm this pretty girl, and then that's what goes into it. But
Yeah.
anyway, so like
That's the
there's a rhyme and
whole.
reason.
Remember
Yeah,
Hooked
I
by
know.
Near?
That's why I keep
Yeah.
saying it. It's like hooked.
By I guess maybe two shout outs to a couple books slash authors. One is The Cold Start Problem. There's a book called The Cold Start Problem by Andrew Chen. Um, and
We
then
should link these, by the way.
yeah, we'll link them. And then
See in the link below.
Hooked by Nir Ayal, which was a big part of a former company we used to work at. It was
Hmm.
ingrained in our minds around habit building model and the engagement loop. Uh, so those are the things, especially when you're a new person, that companies try to instill pretty quickly, so that you build a habit around using their products.
Yeah.
Man, we could probably talk a whole episode about that, right?
Yeah, we could. Yeah, because I mean, there's two theories, right? It's like there's kind of like the product experience, right? And there's kind of like this mental model that a company kind of wants you to go through as you think about like where do you what is your interaction with them, right?
Yeah,
And so it's actually very interesting. I know a lot of people will default onto, oh, it's just the way the company's trying to manipulate me and get to do something. And if you really think about it, yeah, it's true, right? But it's not. I don't think it's like evil intentions, right? But it's like, all right, you're there to begin with for a reason,
yeah.
and it's really just about typically the end goal is really to make sure you feel good about what you're doing, right? Um, so
Companies want you to see the value in their products
yeah,
quickly. And
yep,
if you are the target customer and companies build their products in the right way for you to see that value quickly, it's actually a good thing because you came there for a reason.
right,
If it's solving your problem, then that's creating value for you, and
yeah,
that's why we build the products that we want to build, is to create
right,
value and solve problems. So if
yeah,
you're not the target segment, then you're not going to see that value, and you're going to go use something else,
right,
or not return.
and it, yeah, and it's expected, right? It's like, yeah, if this wasn't meant for you, then you totally don't have to use it.
That's our journey so far with the podcast and with the YouTube channel. So with that being said, let's talk about some tech.
Yeah.
What's going on this week? We just started talking about this story, which is really interesting. Jeff Bezos and Nvidia join OpenAI and Microsoft in backing a humanoid robot unicorn valued at 2 billion, called Figure AI, which is developing human-like robots uh, that are AI driven. And so the company is raising $675 million in a funding round that carries a pre-money valuation of about $2 billion. Through his firm, Explore Investments, Bezos has committed almost $100 million, Microsoft $95 million, and Nvidia and Amazon are providing $50 million.
For a startup, this is a large sum of money, and it really like the pre-valuation is kind of. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but I guess if you look at who the investors are, okay, maybe not. But I
Yeah,
mean, this is not a small like, oh, we'll test this out. This is one where it's like, all right, we are going to find success. Um, with this, right? Or that's the goal. It's interesting because it's like, okay, I get why Amazon and Bezos are interested, right? Because this is your let's we need warehouse workers that can work 24 hours,
Hmm.
right? And having an AI driven robot that can kind of like do that, is kind of scary.
Yeah.
Um, it reminds me of what is that movie with Will Smith and the robots?
iRobot.
iRobot. There you go. It's actually in the name. iRobot makes me think of that. And actually, so the other big robot, what is it? Elon's Optimus,
Hmm.
right? The Optimus robot kind of looks like the robots from iRobot. Well, I mean, they all look human, but it's just like the way it's shaped, etc. It really does look like the iRobot one, but
Did you go to
it's
the
cool.
website figure.ai? It is
No, I
pretty
haven't.
cool. Uh,
Ooh.
yeah, they're
Oh, it's got the Cylon look with the little eye thing.
yeah,
Oh wow, this is nice.
super interesting. I
But
mean, just with OpenAI and Microsoft being part of this
hmm
venture
hmm
already is like very interesting because
yeah,
uh, I mean, OpenAI has just done so much in this last year or two. I mean, I'm sure
yeah,
they've been working on it longer, but they've launched so much in this
yeah,
last year. They're
yeah.
just mind blowing in terms of AI. We were talking about
Right.
Sora last episode, where it's text to generative AI on videos, and
hmm
pretty mind blowing what that technology is doing. So having them involved in a human robot AI
Yeah,
is scary, but also intriguing and interesting.
yeah, yeah. It is. It puts it way more real. It's actually if you think oh, what's the other one? Boston
Hmm.
Dynamics,
The
right?
dogs.
The dogs and their that the very human like Atlas was the name of it, right? And you think, well, okay, they are actually further along. All if they put in right some Gen AI to manage, like I think at the moment they're all pre-programmed. Like
Hmm.
I know they put a lot of dance videos out to like showcase what it can do, right? And that's
Hmm.
all been like scripted. They have to manually program it. But if they somehow combined like Gen AI, then a lot of that would just be handled by Atlas itself.
Yeah.
Which is yeah, it's a bit scary when you actually see it in action. Like when you saw Atlas in the beginning, it was like, wow, he's so lifelike and stuff. Like just imagine if
Yeah.
that was like really like it was doing it on its own, which I think is what these companies are trying to do, like this future AI that
Well, here's what the story
Bezos
says.
invested in.
At Figure, engineers are working on a robot that looks and moves like a human. The company has said it hopes its machine, called Figure 1, will be able to perform dangerous jobs that are unsuitable for people, and that its
Uh,
technology will help alleviate labor shortages. So that's the mission.
yeah,
Uh,
sounds good,
yeah,
but I'm pretty sure that dangerous job is workhouse
yeah, yeah.
or warehouse, not workhouse, warehouse.
Well, the thing that that's always in the back of my mind with these like you know groundbreaking or futuristic technologies is the military.
Mhm.
So we don't see much of what the military is doing, but they are doing good things. And how much advance is the military in? Because when I look at these robots, it's like they look like armored robots.
Yes, they do.
They're made of armor.
Uh, yeah, it's literally if you slapped it on like War Machine, right?
Hmm.
In the Marvel universe or in the
Yep.
from the Avengers movies. That's exactly what this thing would look like if you slapped on a Gatling gun and some hand mounted like weapons.
Here's some stats. They are 5 feet 6 inches,
Mhm.
so about the height of myself. Um, to 20 kilogram payload, uh, 60 kilograms in weight,
Yeah.
and they can operate for 5 hours.
Really, 5 hours?
before they
That's
need to
not.
charge.
That's a pretty long time. Well, at least we have that. I think one of the constraining things about autonomous anything right now is just battery capacity. The technology is just not there yet
Yeah.
for like sustained, right? Like
Yeah.
not connected to power. Anyways, hopefully I'm alive long enough to see how this plays out in the
Yeah.
next 20 years. We'll see.
Super interesting. Um, I was telling you that I went to do my Apple Vision demo.
Yes, I haven't done it yet, so yeah, I'm interested to see like everything we've talked about the 2 weeks. Like, how does it? How does it?
Yeah.
How does it?
I sent
How
you
does
over
it
my
match up?
TLDR. Putting it on and experiencing the new tech for the first time was pretty amazing.
Hmm.
Groundbreaking technology, tons of room for improvement. It's definitely a V1 suboptimal. Why did they make this decision type,
Uh huh.
thing? I mean, why did they make the decision? But we know why, because it's a V1
Right.
product.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pay $3,500 for it personally.
So what were like the top? What were like the top three things that you thought? Oh, well, this could have been better, or this
Yeah.
wasn't great.
So first off, the Apple demo and the way they ran the demo was great. So the person
Hmm.
doing the demo, the great kind of script and playbook there. Uh, so when I first put it on, it was just like wow. When I first put it on, I didn't even remember that I was looking at a screen that it was passed through
Mm,
because
yeah.
it looked pretty realistic. Could see everything and just felt like I was wearing glasses, for example.
Hmm.
And then we started going through the demo and we talked about the anchoring previously, and that's pretty cool. Like the anchoring is cool. Could like move things around. He walked me through just like expanding,
Hmm.
moving,
Yeah.
scrolling, resizing, all that stuff. And
Uh
it's
huh.
all with your finger. Like
Yeah.
so it recognizes it. And so it's like
Uh
which
huh.
is really cool. And then the anchoring is really cool because you can move something up or down and it just stay there and you can look around.
Yeah.
Then he wanted me to see the content consumption features. And so we opened the Photos app.
Uh huh.
I could look at photos, resize them. And then there's something called spatial videos or spatial photos.
Oh
And they're
yeah.
in
Yeah. Yeah.
3D.
Yeah.
So I played a spatial video
Mm,
and it's kind of like, you're replaying a memory because it's in
yeah.
3D. This audio is actually really good. I liked the
Mm,
audio. Without having headphones in the ear,
right.
it was really great.
Right.
The spatial video was cool. The only thing I commented while I was watching it is I wish I could like walk through it because you can't. It's just
Uh-huh.
it's just a 3D.
You're literally just viewing it in, like,
Yeah, but I'm sure
yeah.
that's in the future they'll be able to do that.
Mhm.
Um, And then, spatial photos and videos aren't 360-degree immersive. They're just in front of
Mm,
you. So that was something I
right.
was like, I wish that was better. And then we watched video. So I played the Avatar kind of trailer, and the
Mhm.
graphic quality on the videos were amazing. I'd say, I don't know, felt like 8K. I don't know. Is the specs 8K?
Oh, yeah, no, like, I don't recall the exact specs, but, yeah, this is, like, the highest density screen, like,
Yeah.
out there, and it's, like, beyond 4K, so that's why it's just so everybody comments it's so clear,
So clear.
because yeah.
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 Uh, but it did have one of the cons I didn't like is it did have, the blurring on the sides. And I know that they did that purposely because they want to put most of the computing power in what you're
Right, where
focused
you're
on.
looking, yeah. Yeah.
But like I mean, when I'm watching a video, it's like, well, I want to see the entire screen in
Yeah.
clear quality.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I could see the blurring on the sides.
Huh.
So I wrote that, like fuzzy corners, like it was
Yeah.
constant throughout the thing.
Yeah.
Um, but the cinema was good. Watching the videos were good, and there are 360-degree immersive scenes,
Mhm.
and it's pretty cool because once you turn it on, you can like just turn all the way
Right.
around, and you're in
Yeah.
the same environment.
Yeah.
Um, the other cool thing was the spatial videos. I see like a lot of opportunity for that to be huge because
Mhm.
you can start to do things like the demo basically put me in different environments. The really cool one was um, sports, and so the
Mhm.
demo actually put me on the soccer field
Oh,
behind the goal.
yeah. Yeah.
And so watching, the players come
Right.
through and shoot a goal, I was right behind the
Uh,
goal and
mm,
had the best seat in the house, which is how they, like to
yeah.
brand it.
Yeah.
So overall, I mean, I think it was good, but why I don't think it's worth the $3,500 is some big cons for me. I think one is even though the pass through was pretty good, I
Mhm.
could still see pixels. So like
Mm,
the pass through wasn't as high quality as say like the content in the media. Like I could see granulated um, pixelation
right.
on the person and just
Was the Apple Star dark? Was the Apple Store dark,
no, it was bright.
or was it bright? Okay.
Is that
I just remember. I remember, yeah, like in some of the reviews I've watched where they're like, yeah, you should be in a pretty bright space, otherwise, the pass through it just doesn't handle
oh, it doesn't take in the light.
dark. Yeah, it doesn't handle dark very well.
Mm. No, it was in the Apple
Uh,
store, so as bright
oh,
as your
okay,
typical Apple store.
interesting. Okay.
Um, when I put it on, like the black circles around were noticeable, so I could always see them, which was pretty disappointing. Well, there's hearts
What?
coming.
What was that?
Is it? Interesting. Okay.
Why? Does it automatically do that?
Yeah, I guess it was like recognition. You gotta turn that off.
No, I guess not. Okay, that's such a weird thing to put in
I know.
to randomly pop up. Okay.
So I
That
could
was not
see,
intentional, everybody. That was literally Descript automatically detecting a heart sign.
so I could see those black circles, that's around the viewports all the time, which was
Mm-hmm.
annoying because I just wanted,
Mm-hmm.
especially when if you're in like this immersive scene and then you see black circles the whole time.
Yeah.
It's not that great. I did get a headache after about 10
Oh, you
minutes of using
did.
it. Yeah, I started getting a headache.
Were you moving around a lot?
No, I mean
No, you're just getting a
not a
headache.
lot. I
Oh,
was definitely moving around a bit.
yeah.
Um, and my eyes started sweating.
Okay.
um. Oh, so the other cool thing, the last thing I'll comment on it. It was good, but also not great. There's been a lot of reviews and feedback on how it's impossible to type,
Yeah.
and that is true. Um, when you first pull up the keyboard, it's kind of far away, and you need to look at the keys. But
Yeah.
then the representative showed me a cool trick where if you pull the keyboard up closer,
Mhm.
then it'll recognize where your fingers are, and you can just type
Hmm.
regular, like it's a keyboard.
Oh,
So
okay.
so that's pretty cool. Like it knows my
So you don't
finger,
have to.
so you
So
don't
you
have to look
don't
at
have
it.
to look at it.
Yeah,
Oh,
but I mean,
okay.
obviously, there's no tactile, so
Right.
you
It's a
have
little bit
to look at
harder.
it
Okay.
still. But at least you don't have to look at each letter and
Yeah.
press. You can just type normally, which is pretty cool. I was like,
I
"How is it
see.
like? How's
Yeah.
it doing that?" Um, so yeah,
Okay.
that's
That's interesting. Yeah, like the typing thing for me when like people are saying you have to look at it before you press. It's like that's like an ad, right? Because like the way I type, well, it's like not you don't look at the keyboard, right?
mm,
You just kind of type.
yeah,
In high school, I took a typing class. That's kind of how old I am, where they have typing classes
on a
on an
typewriter,
actual typewriter. Yeah, on a typewriter. Oh, but it's probably one of the most useful skills I've learned, right?
totally.
Because you use it every single day. But yeah, it's basically, I've always thought it's like, that must be really hard because it's like to have to look before you press a button. Like where now it's just like,
Mm.
you don't have to. You're just kind of typing while you're like looking around doing everything, right?
It's kind of
Um,
like how it
it's
felt
like a habit.
was typing on your iPhone. So
Mm,
I think you can type easier with the Apple Vision Pro if you use one finger, just like your
I
iPhone,
see.
like doot, doot. Well, I mean, some
Yeah.
people use their thumb,
Yeah.
but a lot of people also use their pointer finger.
Yeah.
That's how I would relate it to.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Well,
So
cool. I really need to
yeah,
schedule time.
I booked a second demo because he said now that you've done the first demo, if you book a second demo, then you'll get you basically continue the demo, and so you can do gaming and other advanced features. So I
Oh,
booked a second
okay.
one, which I'm going to do this week.
Oh, nice. Okay,
All my
another
free
follow up for
time
next
having
week.
no job. So yeah, I mean, I think it's good. I like Apple does. I think this product, the technology is
Mm-hmm.
it's like laying the foundation for what's to come,
Yeah.
and I'm excited to buy maybe the version 3 or 4 used.
Yeah. 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 I, I anticipate they'll probably try to want to get a price point that's, between 1,000 or 2,000, kind of like an entry level,
Yeah,
like MacBook Pro or, maybe MacBook Air eventually. But that's what I think. Like when you were saying like the things, again, this is the Pro version, right? And so it makes you think that there's definitely just going to be an Apple Vision
yeah. Well,
basic, let's call it.
yeah, yeah. This is Pro, and so they're only going to go unpro from
Yeah.
here.
Right. It's like it's like you don't need the built-in sound or you don't need to see people's eyes. Like I'm sure they'll learn a ton of stuff now that people have had it in hand of like what do they not use or what's not really needed, and they'll use that as a way to kind of like
Yeah.
again, what Apple does best is refine their product to perfection.
And they'll fix,
Yeah.
the issues I talked about, like the fuzzy corners, the pixelation. They'll fix that.
Mhm.
I mean, the hardware
Yeah.
is there, so it's all just
Yeah.
a matter of now improving the
Yeah.
software.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see in like 5 years.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the next one. Let's go into a bit of finance. Did you hear that Capital One is buying Discover Card?
Yeah, I saw. I thought it's a weird acquisition. Well, I mean, I guess it makes sense, but
Yeah.
they're trying to. Anyways, how would you give the lowdown and maybe we'll
Well,
comment on it?
Discover's payment network is used by over 305 million cardholders. So 305 million people to add to
Is that
Capital One's.
really
Yeah.
305
Um,
million? I didn't realize. I've always thought they've been very U.S. centric.
I'm not sure. I used to be a Discover card holder,
Mm-hmm.
but this was back, I think, in college is the last time I.
Same,
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
Sign up for and get a free T-shirt. That's literally the only reason why.
Yeah. But all I know is, from my brand perspective,
hmm
like Discover is the card that's probably not going to be accepted.
Um, I mean, I guess I never use it
Yeah.
because there's no reason to. So I guess this acquisition's kind of
I'm sure
interesting.
they're
Well,
like, just like the rest of the market today, there's a lot of acquisitions happening, right? Because
yeah,
some companies are not growing as much as they
yeah,
used to. Um,
yeah.
but Capital One is acquiring them for $35.3 billion in an all stock deal.
All
It's
stock,
interesting.
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no cash component really. All stock. Okay. Guess they don't have enough money. So I guess like yeah, okay. If I thought it from Capital One's perspective, I guess it makes sense, right? Because part of their problem, I guess, is because if you only go through Visa, Mastercard, they just don't want to have that middleman
Hmm.
anymore, right? And so Discover gives them a platform to build. Well, it gives them basically their own platform. It's basically getting rid of the fees they pay to Visa and Mastercard.
Yeah.
But again, I also think
Mm.
Capital One, it's
So strategically, they want to compete with Visa and Mastercard
yeah, right. And Capital, yeah, because Capital One's one of the biggest card
and AMX, I
issuers,
guess.
and American Express. Yeah, and American Express has their own, well, their Amex
Yeah.
network, right? And so this puts Capital One up there. Um,
Well,
it's interesting.
yeah. Now that you're saying that, I mean, there have been several things in the last few months here, the last year, that makes sense now with that strategy that you're talking about. Because Capital
Mm-hmm.
One started launching lounges in airports,
Mm.
and AMX
Oh,
has,
I didn't know
yeah,
that. Okay.
AMX
Yeah.
has a Centurion lounge.
Yep.
Visa and Mastercard, they don't have lounges, but you can go through some of the lounges that are at the airports.
Yeah.
But Capital One started launching lounges in airports, and I heard they're pretty good.
Mm.
I don't know. Have you been to the Capital One? Like how they've been changing some of their banks to be more like coffee houses or lounges.
Uh, I've seen one,
Yeah. There's
yes,
one in
and
Austin,
yeah,
like
yeah,
in the Domain. Yeah.
yeah. I've seen that one. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So that's like
yeah.
they've been launching these lounges, like these lounge feels, and so I
Oh,
heard the one
okay.
in the airport is pretty good. So not so now you're
Hmm.
saying that it's like, yeah, I guess that is their strategy is
Yeah,
how do
it
we
would make.
maybe compete more with like AMX because AMX
Yeah,
has this kind of more,
yeah,
you know, exclusive
yeah,
feel.
yeah. It would. Yeah, it would make sense. Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially as I think Capital One, they're mostly U.S. focused too, right?
hmm
Um, it's
So
U.S. bank.
let's see. Richard Fairbank, the founder and CEO of Capital One, said that the deal would build a payments network that can compete with the largest payments networks and payments companies.
There
And
you go.
then also, the deal would likely result in more of its cards getting switched to the Discover network versus
Mhm.
Visa and
Yep.
MasterCard.
There you go.
Capital One is trying
I'm
to
a
be
genius.
dominant.
I know. I figured it out. Did not even have to read the article.
Yeah. Well, let's see. The biggest banks are JP Morgan Chase,
Yep.
Bank of America,
Yep.
Citigroup, and I guess
Yep.
Capital One is right up
Yep.
there with them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of J.P. Morgan, Jamie Dimon cashed out like $150 million worth of stock.
Oh, of JP Morgan stock.
Yep.
I've heard that too lately in the last month. A lot of CEOs and insiders are selling. But
Yeah.
all those, whenever that comes out, the thing that people always like to remind us of, who knows how I don't know if it's a rebuttal, but they're all planned sells.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it right? It's like, right. A lot of people, oh, they're like selling. It's like there must be, something bad coming up or they don't see strength in the economy. And it's like, might be it. But like, what was the other one? Bezos was like
hmm
a couple of billion, something like that. And I was like, well, yeah, he's got to pay for his new super yacht. The yearly upkeep on a super yacht is probably like tens of millions of dollars. Um, so
Gotta
yeah,
pay
he's
pay
got
for
like
Blue
his,
Origin.
yeah. Yeah, he paid. Yeah, he paid. What was it? At one point, he was like he pulls out basically $1 billion a year just to fund Blue Origin.
Yeah.
I forget what interview that was, but somebody had asked, and that's what he mentioned. Yeah, like if they liquidated like 100% or like 90% of their entire holdings, okay, then you probably got something to worry about. But if it's like if it's like a percent or it's just some yearly thing,
From my
it's
perspective, it's
not a
more
not
that's
a
when
big
you should
deal.
be buying because the stock's going to be
Yes,
going down. You
right.
got to take the opportunity to dip buy.
Buy the dip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other news is S&P 500 hit all time highs again this last week. But the reason why it hit all time highs is because of Nvidia.
Nvidia saves the market, or I guess that's where everybody's hopes and dreams were pinned on. It's like Nvidia, is it going to be good? Is it going to be great,
They
or is it going
delivered.
to be worse? But yeah, no, they definitely delivered. What is this? Let's see, revenue. I'm looking here. Oh yeah, 22 billion on revenue and
In a
12
quarter, right? Was that a quarter?
in a quarter. Correct,
Gosh,
in a quarter, 12ish billion net income during the quarter.
that is
So yeah,
ridiculous.
so they are up a lot this year relative to last year. It's kind of crazy.
769%
Yeah,
year over year.
yeah. I'm still thinking though, right? Semis are still boom and bust. It's like they are. It's
Semiconductors.
always yeah. Semiconductors. It's always been a cyclical industry, and so it's just like now everybody's like trying to predict like how long is this boom cycle going to last,
Yeah.
right? So we'll see. We'll see. I'm hesitant to buy in at this. I just can't make myself do it. It's like
Well, last
yeah,
week I talked about the
the
demand and
yacht.
supply issues, but
Yeah.
Nvidia's CEO came out and said, there is no um, demand issue. Basically, like
Yeah.
they've got orders, that are going to last
Mm-hmm.
for a long time, and yeah.
See, that just makes me nervous. That's what semiconductors is. Oh yeah, it looks great until it's not.
Two other earnings you wanted to talk about: EVs.
hopes and dreams
So Lucid and Rivian.
obliterated.
Lucid, Lucid and Rivian, they reported earnings. They both had not great earnings. Lucid had worse earnings. Um, Lucid down 39% year over year. They have negative 161% margins, and they're
Crazy.
losing about $650 million or 380,000 per car
Yeah.
delivered every quarter.
Yeah.
So they're basically bleeding cash. Now Lucid is backed by Saudi Arabia, so
Yeah.
there's always been this like talk of whenever some people talk about them, it's like, well, they have an infinite, cash
Yeah.
stream
Yeah.
because Saudi is hugely, vastly wealthy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not a. I think we talked about it last time. I'm not a big fan of Lucid. So I don't want to see EV companies go under because I'm a EV proponent myself. I own a
Yeah.
Tesla. Um,
Yeah.
but it's not good. I think they just need to change things there. And so Rivian, I like Rivian a bit more. Even though they had bad earnings, they had bad earnings, but it wasn't as bad as Lucid.
Hmm.
They still hit 200% positive year over year revenue.
Yeah.
Uh, versus Lucid was negative 39% year over year. So Rivian grew tremendously year over year, but their problem is similar where they have negative margins. So for every car they
Hmm.
produce, they're actually losing money.
Yeah.
Negative 46% margins. They made 1.4 billion in revenue last quarter, and they have $8 billion in cash, which means they have about 18 months of runway.
Hmm.
I think the Lucid stat was they have like 6 months of runway, and
Mm.
so they need to figure things out or get
Yeah.
another cash injection.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's going to be a challenging time for EVs overall. I think all the major automakers are actually pulling back on their EV plans.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? I saw yesterday? Like Mercedes is delaying all the way to 2030 now their EV initiatives. I think they were citing the market again. Like the market
Big
is
demand.
not showing the uptick that everybody was, I guess, hoping for or thinking that was trending towards. So yeah, they've kind of pushed back
Yeah.
their EV vacation, whatever, moving to all EVs like to 2030 now, and you're seeing like Ford, right, GM are pulling back on their Lightning and their Hummer.
And
But
I
yeah,
think
no,
the demand
it's
crunch is I think it's because of the high interest rates, right?
I don't know.
Versus an interest in EVs.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just interest rates, but it's a demand problem. I don't. A lot of people are not buying as many EVs.
Yeah. And so I wonder what that is. I don't know. My
I mean,
assumption
I
is
don't.
because of inflation, but
Yeah, it's like I don't. Yeah, I don't have an EV.
yeah. Why don't you have
I
an
don't think
EV?
I'd buy one either. I don't think I for me, I know it's not really a thing, but like just the having to worry about like the range, like
Range
finding a
anxiety.
charger, right? Ranging the whatever range anxiety, like finding a charger when I need it. If anything, I'd probably get like hybrid
Yeah.
at least. But full EV, just not ready for it. Um, all those stories about all the Teslas just abandoned at the charging station, right? Because it was so cold they couldn't get them to start. Partially user error, right? Because you're supposed to warm the battery, etc. But still, it's just like you don't want when you're in those type of situations. It's not something you would have to think about.
Yeah, I was
But
talking about
anyways,
this with a
it's
bunch of friends last night, and my thought was, yeah, it's range anxiety. Range anxiety is
mhm,
mostly the reason why people aren't fully into EVs yet. For
yeah,
example, like we have a Tesla. It's our primary vehicle because we save so much on gas by using it.
yeah, yeah,
But um, when I wanted to get when I broached the idea of getting a second EV just to go all
hmm,
electric, there was a
yeah,
barrier there. It's like, no, we still need to have a gas car.
yeah, right,
For me, I'm like,
yeah,
I think technology and availability of electric chargers, especially in the Tesla network,
hmm,
are there. Like
yeah,
you can go, you can drive, you can't drive more than 30 minutes to an hour, at least in the Seattle area,
Yeah.
without having a supercharger available. So it's pretty available here. And
Yeah.
but that is the reason, range anxiety.
Yeah. I think there's probably the cost thing too. At least I haven't looked into it, but I just like the cost of electricity here in California as an example. It's just so high now, like it almost doesn't make sense. Like
Mm.
the argument of, oh, it's cheaper than gas. It's not really true here.
Have you like done the calculations?
I feel like I've seen some articles on people like, oh yeah, it's like I'm totally like charging at home is just not
Mm,
the whatever the cost difference is not really significant enough at this point anymore.
I see.
But
Let's go
yeah,
back to Rivian then and Lucid. Um, Lucid, like I said, I don't know. The Lucid Air is a cool vehicle.
I've seen a few.
Yeah,
They're
I don't
all
know.
right.
I'm not sure about the strategy there.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're all right. Rivians, though, I feel like Lucid is just, oh, we want to build a nice, expensive car and be elite.
yeah,
Whereas Rivians, I feel like Rivian is really solving more of a problem, which is needing more of a rugged, like
hmm,
trail outdoor
yeah,
electric vehicle.
yeah,
Um, and that's their target segment. And everyone I
yeah,
know is much more interested in like everyone I talk to, if we're talking about EVs, is very much interested in the Rivian as
hmm,
the alternative to Tesla
yeah,
versus other cars.
yeah,
However, Rivians are expensive, so
yeah. Their execution hasn't been great. Well, we'll see. I feel like are they announcing a new model R2
yeah, I think they're gonna
R2
start.
sometime in the early March,
Yeah,
March 7th.
yeah,
Maybe that's the time to buy the news or whatever, buy the rumor, sell the news type thing.
yeah. I'm waiting for another opportunity to get into Rivian. And disclaimer: is not financial advice.
This is not financial advice, especially since I'm a Rivian bag holder. So take that for what you will.
um, but if you just look at the fundamentals of Rivian, their margins have been trending positive, meaning
Yeah.
they're still negative margins, but they've every quarter they've been getting better at margins. It's just last quarter where they step back because of, I think, the demand supply equation
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Um, so I think they're in a good position. I mean, if
Yeah.
people don't know, like in Tesla's early IPO days, like there was a lot of times where they were close to bankrupt.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'm bullish on Rivian, but this is not
Yeah.
financial advice. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. We will see in 18 months. But okay. And that I think that brings us
Yeah.
to the end of this week.
Any any plans for this week?
Any parting words? Nope, nothing special this week other than I guess as we get into the latter parts of Q1, it's just crunch time. So
Yeah, yeah.
a lot of work.
Well, I'm starting my contracting gig, so it'd be good to, be
Congratulations, that's
supplying,
nice.
getting some income, and but also not committed to the full 9 to 5. And then my daughter's back in school because she was on break last week. So
Mm,
be
nice. Yeah, yeah. And then I guess we'll chat again next week.